All right. Well, it says we're live, Tricia, so I guess that means we are live here at Camp Shifting Schools. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If this is the first time that you've been to one of our webinars here in camp, congratulations. It's probably because it's the first time we've ever done a webinar here in camp. So we're excited to kick this off. There is a chat feature on Tricia's and my screen. It's down in the bottom right-hand corner. I noticed Tricia just shared the slide deck over there. That is a place where you can also chat with us. We will be able to see those throughout our presentation today. As we talk about, this is our first 15-minute webinar over the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and what would it be, Wednesday. We're going to be doing just 15-minute webinars around this idea of creating custom bots. What does that mean for us? Some different ways that works. Tricia, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start just kind of with this little bit of a check-in, and folks, feel free to weigh in on the chat. Like, which of these 4 flavors best describes your relationship with AI right now? And if you recognize this one, we've used it before, but Jeff, I find it so useful to keep coming back to it. I feel like today, I think I've actually been through all 4 of the different flavors. Today might be like a gummy mix for me. Do you have a flavor for today?
I'm just getting started on my day. My day's a little, it's rainy here, so, we just don't do. I would say today is probably going to be for me an orange slice day. There's a lot of sweet things, but I'm also trying to finish up this keynote that I'm doing to school board members. And I know there's going to be some sour pieces in there too. So, but to your point, Tricia, I've used this now at almost every training I've done over the last couple weeks. And what a great way, and any of you that are here who do trainings with staff, what a great little way. People seem to be able to dig in and find some meaning in this, and it just starts conversations at table groups. So feel free to take this and use this wherever you might see it. But I've been using it again, and it seems to be something people can lean into,
Well, and for me too, it's a reminder of if your opinion or your flavor pairing for your opinion on AI never changes, you might not necessarily be learning anything new or different. So for me, it's also a gauge of if I'm still in the same flavor world around what I think AI is, I maybe need to do a little bit more learning. So thank you. We've got gummy bears as the popular choice for today. Feel free to explain that or leave that vague, if you will. It's gummy bears for me, Jeff, because you and I have been talking a lot about companion AI. And I just feel like I'm chewing on that. Like I have to process what this means for the future of childhood. So that's kind of why gummy bear was my pick of choice. Like,
well, for me, then maybe it's medicine because all you've been talking about is companion AI, and I feel like I'm getting spoon fed. So, but see, this one works. It works for all of us, so it's great.
That's a good pick. Well, thank you again, folks, for joining. Again, these webinars are just 15 minutes, fast and furious, but hopefully you leave being a little more inspired to learn about bots. On slide number 2, this is a resource to dig into later on. It comes from the 2024 Trend Report from Future Today Institute. The whole gosh darn thing is 1,000 pages long. So we are going through even a significant portion of it, but we wanted to zoom in on this quote. So in their report, when they're asking, how will AI change the nature of work? There's this great quote. As AI becomes more sophisticated, more able to collaborate with humans and demonstrate capabilities that were once considered uniquely human, it raises the question, is AI a tool for workers to use or a colleague to collaborate with? And Jeff, you and I have come up with a whole range of different bespoke bots. And every time I feel like I create one, I'm thinking about it as a colleague to collaborate with. And that's very much true of the bot we're discussing today, which is also our most popular bot available on the Shifting Schools webpage. It's our time traveling student. So on slide 3, you can click there to try it out. We've given folks a few different prompts. We've also used our time traveling student in a few workshops, and people tend to get pretty excited about it. Essentially, it's been trained on some data that is meant to sort of give us a perspective 10 years out. So initially, we used the Stanford free-to-use tool called Storm. where it generated a report of resources. And then we combined that with the UNESCO World in 2030 guide. So that's kind of what makes up this bot's knowledge base. We did some research into what are the important skill sets going to be in 2030. And we tried to create this student that we could then go to and ask some questions of. And when we're talking about specific use cases, right here on, this is slide 4, I believe, we think it's helpful to have a little bit of a framework to walk through, right? And to be saying, okay, well, what are the stages in learning that I would want to be partnering with a tool like this? And you can see on that document, we've set that up a little bit to give you some starter ideas. But I think even just for unit planning, as an educator, looking at what I'm doing and thinking, why is this going to be useful to somebody in the year 2030 gives me a whole different perspective on the concepts that I want to focus on, how I want to talk about the skills. Jeff, I know that you've also seen some incredible educators in our sessions make use of the chatbot. Do you want to say a little bit more about why you think people are excited to use the student from the future?
Well, I think, with this webinar, we're going to be talking a lot about these custom AI bots, and they're so powerful in so many different ways. I think this one in particular, to your point, we're seeing educators engage with it to talk about a skill or a concept that I need to cover in my class. But with the generation that is our class today, they are very purpose-driven, right? One thing you need to know about Generation Z, those are our middle school and high school kids. They're very purpose-driven. We know that about this generation. And so if I'm teaching a concept today, I need to be able to tie that to their purpose of the future. And so we're seeing teachers interact with this bot in a way of, I need to cover concept X. What are some ways that this concept ties to 2030? Where can I see this being used? What are the different, maybe even jobs that this is going to go into? We see the same thing on the student end. I've had some teachers take this and use this with students where students are doing that exact same thing, where students are then able to say, hey, why do I need to know about the quadratic equation in 2030? I want to be a X when I grow up, whatever that child decides they want to be at this moment in time and space. What does this skill look like in 2030? What are those jobs that might be available? Where is this going? And it allows us to be reflective. I think the thing most important, and you mentioned this, Trisha, and I want to make sure we make this very clear as we go through this, these custom AI bots are meant to be companions with us. It's not allowing these things to do the work for us, but do the work with us. And that sounds like such a small thing, but it's a huge thing when we're talking about generative AI right now. How do we create bots that do the work with us, not for us? And if we keep that in mind, these things become incredibly powerful, both in teaching and learning and in our personal lives, as we're going to cover.
And that kind of takes us perfectly to the next two parts of, again, this shift framework that we have to kind of test and think, what are the use cases for this bot? Because Jeff, you talk all the time about AI, the start with the human, go to the AI, end with the human. So again, we might be, as a teaching team, drafting some of the questions, or as a class, drafting some of the questions, bringing the questions to the bot, and then talking about what's missing, because something will always inevitably be missing, right? It needs our human intelligence to add to it. And that part of doing it together, our I, which is intentional documentation, how powerful would it be if, myself and a department, or even myself and just two other educators say, hey, you know what? We're going to take on this other perspective, this time traveling student over the course of just a week. Let's save our chats and then let's talk about the way that we use the bot. Or again, if I've got a class of students who are, age ready to be using this bot, let's all save our chats for a week and then have a discussion in terms of, when was it useful? What did I have to do in order to make it useful? Because of course, the bot in and of itself is not going to be mind-blowing. It is that connection, that collaboration of how I think to use it the context in which I use it with the bot. I think that partnership is really what we want to put a spotlight on.
And I think the thing to remember with all of this, and this is what I try to do in all of my trainings, is it's called generative AI. And the power of these, even in these custom bots, but just in all of generative AI, is leaning into that generative nature of it. The idea that every single time you prompt it, everybody gets something different. A lot of the school districts I'm working with right now are really focused on getting kids to talk more in class, getting kids to talk to each other more in class. I can't find a better tool that would allow you to do that. Every student in your class could be interacting with this chatbot from the future, but everybody's getting something different, right? We lean in to that generative nature of it. And now kids are having conversations. What did it say for me versus what did it say to you? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? What would you change with it? What's your follow-up prompt? And Trisha, to your point, we can start doing that as educators. If we're not ready to do that with our students yet, how do we take that on as a department and understanding that we lean in to the generative nature of it, that we all understand that every time we ask it something, we can all give it the exact same prompt. We're all going to get something slightly different. And that's where the conversation starts. These things should be conversation starters for our schools, for our departments, and for our classrooms.
I couldn't agree more. And that's where I think also, once you've got kind of like a starter prompt that you're sharing, in terms of getting to a more useful or effective prompt, it's incredible the difference that like a different verb or, explaining to the bot why it matters, then the difference you get. This is a very extremely basic, like if I'm teaching prompt craft, this prompt isn't necessarily one that I would say is worthy of that. But just as way of example, I ask my time traveling student, hey, I'm working on being a better poet. I'm trying to incorporate poetry into advocacy efforts. Why is that useful in the future? I get kind of a generic response. But again, if I'm working on my poetry, like I kind of find this encouraging. It's giving me an idea that it's somewhat useful. But now I'd want to talk through as a class, how can we make this hyper specific? Like, what is it that we really want to know? And what about our learning as writers do we want to dig into? So I think finding the more specific question is teaching the art of questioning, something that I think we all want to be working on. And people talk a lot about, is AI going to rob us of critical thinking? And my response is always, if you let it. But actually, if you make more questions and more conversations around what makes the tool useful, you have to exercise creative thinking. When we say, ChatGPT can't do that. Is it ChatGPT can't do that? Or have we not worked together and thought through how we can get it to do what we need? Also known as critical thinking.
Yeah. And I think, the more we work with these tools, the more people understand that to write a really good prompt is a heavy cognitive lift. There's so much critical thinking that goes into writing a really good prompt to get a really good output. And there's a lot of thinking that goes into that. It's so interesting. Every time I'm doing a training now with educators, they almost are exhausted by the end of it. They're like, it's hard work. It's hard work to use these things. There is so much critical thinking, both on the input, the human inquiry side, the AI does its thing, and then the H on the outside, on the other side, the human empowerment. How does it empower us to think critically about its responses as we go into having conversations with other humans?
And then the piece about understanding, especially with a bespoke bot like this, okay, if we really dig into its brain or its knowledge, how then do we understand how to better use it? So again, that's why with this bot specifically, it's so useful to have, here's the information, let's look at it. Once you dig into the research that's informed it, how do you know how to better prompt it? Again, I think especially for older students or for us, for educators, to dig into that and then go back to it, we're also going to get, I think, much more creative prompts. And I think that leads to us being a little bit more curious in terms of, okay, these larger LLMs, why might it be better or more useful in certain situations to create something really unique?
And if people haven't seen Storm yet, I'll put it over in the chat, but it is linked there on slide 4. Trisha has it linked there. This is probably my number one research tool right now. I find it very powerful. I find that it's very accurate. It's being done by Stanford, so you've got an educational research institution behind it, who is making sure that it is relevant. And I love that it makes kind of like a Wikipedia page overview on any given topic that a kid might need to study. And the way that you used it here, Trisha, in order to use Storm, that then you can actually take that, turn it into a PDF, and then you upload that PDF to your chatbot and use that as its knowledge bank, including all of the resources that were used in creating that overview from Storm itself. So just a great way of using AI tools together.
And again, I'm thinking when you introduce this idea of looking at what bots are trained on, I find this is just like a really great incentivizer to doing more research. Like certainly this rise in AI-powered research tools has enabled me to do 5 times, maybe 10 times the amount of research I typically could have done in a given week. So again, those are just a few use cases for trying out the time traveling student. We'd love to hear back from you if you dig into it. Tomorrow we're chatting again, but a much different topic. We're going to be digging into generative AI bots, how Jeff and I have used them, not in our professional lives, but in our personal lives. Again, I think this intersection of the personal and the technology is also something we have to be exploring in school. So hope you can join us again tomorrow for a fast and furious 15 minutes of bots in a blink.
Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.